I've been carrying the day into the night, still turning things over, still asking if I got it right. I replay the little moments, the words I wish I'd changed. I take one small decision and I stretch it into days. I keep looking for a reason why I should trust myself, like confidence is something everybody has but me. But maybe I don't have to make it leave. Maybe I can let it sit here quietly. The doubt is here, so am I. It can take a chair, it doesn't get to drive. I don't need to fight it, I don't need to know why. The doubt is here, so am I. I'm tired from the living, from the errands and the noise, from answering the questions and making all the choices. Some days I have less patience, some nights I have less faith. That doesn't mean I'm failing, it just means I've had a day. I can stop demanding certainty. I can give myself a little room to breathe. The doubt is here, so am I. It can take a chair, it doesn't get to drive. I don't need to fix it, I don't need to make it right. The doubt is here, so am I. Maybe courage isn't knowing, maybe courage isn't clear. Maybe courage is just staying when the questions all appear. Maybe I can hear the worry without giving it my name. Let it pass through like the weather. Let it come and let it change. The doubt is here, so am I. It can raise its voice, it doesn't get my life. I don't need all the answers, I can leave some things untied. The doubt is here, so am I. The doubt is here, so am I. And tonight, that's enough for me. I turn the light down, I let the room get still. The doubt is here, and I'm here still. Coffee gone cold, shoes by the door. I made it through the day, I don't have much more. I answered all the messages, I smiled when I was asked. I carried all the ordinary things that somehow felt like tasks. The groceries and the traffic, the meeting running late, the tiny disappointments that kept adding to the weight. By dinner I was quiet, by 8 I had no spark, and I started blaming myself for wanting something soft. Maybe tired isn't lazy, maybe empty isn't wrong. My battery is low tonight, so I'm turning down the lights. I don't have to keep on proving that I'm worthy of my life. I can leave a few things waiting, I can let the world move on. My battery is is low tonight, and I don't have to push till it's gone. There's laundry in the basket, there's a cup beside the sink, there's a list I haven't finished, there's a call I didn't make. But none of that is evidence that I don't have what it takes. Maybe rest is not a failure, maybe rest is what it takes. I don't need to earn the pillow, I don't need to earn the chair, I don't need a perfect reason to admit I've had my share. My battery is low tonight, so I'm giving it some time. I don't have to fill the silence, I don't have to optimize. I can eat something easy, I can cancel one more thing. My battery is low tonight, that doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. Tomorrow has its own hours, morning has its own light. I don't have to borrow energy from a future version of my life. Tonight can just be smaller, a shower, a song, a bed, a little less performing, a little more being human instead. Low tonight, and I'm finally listening. I can rest before I'm empty, I can stop before I break, I can let the dishes wait there, I can leave the phone alone. My battery is low tonight, and I know how to come home. Nothing to prove, nothing to win, just enough quiet to charge again. One thought becomes another, then another takes its place. Suddenly it's midnight and I'm 10 decisions away. Did I say too much at dinner? Did I wait too long to call? Should I stay or should I change it? Should I move or not at all? What if I choose the wrong thing? What if everyone can tell? What if every little question is a door I have to nail? I keep building whole tomorrows from a sentence in my head. I keep trying to solve problems that have not happened yet. I don't have to follow every thought just because it knocked. Too many thoughts tonight, too many roads at once. I don't have to walk them all, I don't have to choose them all. I can let a question be a question, I can let the answer come. Too many thoughts tonight, I'll leave a few undone. My mind likes to call it planning when it's really running scared. It keeps searching for protection in a future that's not there. But I know this room is quiet, I know I'm safe enough, I know I can close the curtains without figuring everything out. Maybe clarity comes easier when I stop squeezing so hard. Maybe not knowing for a minute doesn't mean I've lost my heart. Too many thoughts tonight, too many roads at once. I don't have to walk them all, I don't have to choose them all. I can let a question be a question, I can let the answer come. Too many thoughts tonight, I'll leave a few undone. This one can wait till morning, that one isn't mine to hold. This one needs more information, that one is just getting old. I can sort them like the laundry, keep what's useful, leave the rest. Not every thought deserves a meeting, not every fear deserves my best. Tonight, but they're only passing through. I don't have to make a home for every story that they tell. I can let a question be a question. I can trust myself enough. Too many thoughts tonight, and I can still turn off the light. One thought, then quiet. One breath, then sleep. The page is still unfinished, and maybe it can stay that way. I used to think a good life came with labels on the doors, a clear yes, a clear no, a map across the floor. I thought grown up meant deciding without trembling in your hands, like everyone else woke up knowing exactly where to stand. But I've changed my mind before, and somehow I survived. I've taken roads I didn't plan, and still arrived alive. Maybe certainty is not the price of peace. I don't need all the answers tonight. I don't need the ending to know I'm alright. I can stand in the middle without calling it lost. I can wait for more light, I can wait for more thought. I don't need all the answers tonight. I can live one honest question at a time. There are choices that need patience, there are things that need a day. There are doors that only open when I'm ready anyway. I can stop interrogating every feeling that I have. I can let a maybe be a maybe without turning it to fact. Maybe wisdom isn't instant, maybe trust can take its time. Maybe I can keep on living while the answer takes its time. I don't need all the answers tonight. I don't need the ending to know I'm alright. I can stand in the middle without calling it lost. I can wait for more light, I can wait for more thought. I don't need all the answers tonight. I can live one honest question at a time. Some things become obvious after one good sleep. Some things only make sense when I stop digging deep. Some things change completely, and that's allowed as well. I don't owe the future a promise I can't tell. still unfinished. Good. There's room to write. I tied my shoes, that's all. But it's more than nothing. I've been staring at the mountain like I have to reach the top before I even start moving, before I'm allowed to stop. Every goal became enormous, every plan became a test. So I kept waiting for the version of me who could do it best. But she didn't show this morning, and the day is moving on. So I put my feet beneath me, and I choose the smallest one. I don't need momentum, I just need a start. One small step, that's enough. One small thing I can trust. I don't need to change my whole life today. I can move 1 inch, I can make one choice, I can do the next thing and let that be enough. One small step, that's enough. I can answer one email, I can wash one cup, I can walk around the block once, I can put one picture up, I can open the document, I can write a single line, I can stop confusing progress with doing everything on time. Maybe all the little movements are the way a life gets built. Not dramatic reinvention, just returning when I willed. One small step, that's enough. One small thing I can trust. I don't need to change my whole life today. I can move 1 inch, I can make one choice, I can do the next thing and let that be enough. One small step, that's enough. No applause, no big reveal, no perfect morning routine. Just me choosing not to freeze when the whole thing feels too steep. I can make the task much smaller till my body says okay. Then tomorrow, if I want to, I can take another step. One small step, that's enough. One small promise kept with love. I don't need to know how far this road will go. I can move 1 inch, I can make one choice, I can trust the motion before I trust the map. One small step, then another when I'm ready. Shoes on, door open, not everything, just something. I used to think strength had a sound. Maybe I was wrong. I thought strong women never faltered, never needed extra sleep. Never cried in grocery store parking lots or canceled plans to breathe. I thought courage looked like speaking with a steady, certain voice, like you always knew the answer and you never feared the choice. But I've seen what I've been carrying, I've seen what I survived, and most of it was quieter than the stories make it sound. Maybe strength doesn't have to announce itself. Quiet doesn't mean weak, soft doesn't mean small. I can bend without breaking, I can pause without falling. There is courage in staying, there is power in peace. I don't have to be louder to know there's strength in me. I have gotten up on mornings when I didn't feel prepared. I have made the hard appointments, I have shown up while I was scared. I've been kind when I was hurting, I've begun again from scratch. I've walked away from things I wanted when I knew they weren't a match. None of that came with a spotlight, no one clapped when I got through. But I know what it cost me, and I know what I can do. Doesn't mean weak, soft doesn't mean small. I can bend without breaking, I can pause without falling. There is courage in staying, there is power in peace. I don't have to be louder to know there's strength in me. Strength can look like boundaries, strength can look like no, strength can look like asking for a little help to go. Strength can look like resting before the tank runs dry. Strength can look like telling the truth without a fight. Quiet doesn't mean weak, gentle doesn't mean less. I can choose a softer answer and still choose what is best. There is courage in knowing I don't need to compete, I don't have to be louder to know there's strength in me. No thunder, no stage, just steady, just breathe. I know how to leave myself. I'm learning something else. When I make a wrong decision, I'm the first one throwing stones. When I fall behind a little, I become a colder home. I say things inside my own head I would never say out loud. Then I wonder why I'm lonely, even when I'm by myself. I spend years trying to improve me by refusing me some grace. But I don't want another hard year with myself as one more weight. What if I stayed on my own side this time? I'm learning to stay when I'm messy, when I'm tired, when I don't know what I'm doing, when I'm scared I've lost the fire. I'm learning to stay, not to leave myself love is making breakfast, even when I hate my mood. Maybe love is taking showers. Maybe love is eating food. Maybe love is stopping early when I know I've done enough. Maybe love is not demanding that I earn a softer touch. I don't need to love each moment. I don't need to love each part. I just need to stop abandoning the woman in my heart. I'm learning to stay when I'm messy, when I'm tired, when I don't know what I'm doing, when I'm scared I've lost the fire. I'm learning to stay, not to leave myself behind. I can be the one who holds me when it's hard to feel alright. I can disagree with choices without turning on myself. I can wanna do things better without calling myself less. I can look into the mirror and not make it into what I can say. We'll try tomorrow and still love who I am now. I'm learning to stay through the questions, through the noise. I'm learning how to hear me without drowning out my voice. I'm learning to stay, and it's changing how I heal. I can be the safe place for me, even before I fully feel it. I'm still here. I'm staying. I keep asking for a sign. Maybe the next step is a sign. I've been standing at the crossroads, trying to predict each road, trying to know before I choose it exactly how the story goes. I ask everyone around me, then I doubt their answers too, because somewhere underneath it I still want to hear from me. I don't need a perfect compass, I don't need a guarantee. I just need enough self-trust to make one choice and let it be. Maybe I can learn by moving, not by waiting till I'm sure. Trust the next step, not the whole road. Trust the next breath, not what you don't know. You don't need the full map, you don't need the perfect view. Trust the next step, and then trust the next one too. I've made choices I outgrew from, I've made choices that were right. I've changed course when new things mattered. I've survived the wrong turns fine. Maybe trusting myself doesn't mean I always get it right. Maybe trust is knowing I can meet myself on either side. I can choose and then adjust it, I can pause and change my mind. I'm not signing something permanent every time I trust the next step, not the whole road. Trust the next breath, not what you don't know. You don't need the full map, you don't need the perfect view. Trust the next step, and then trust the next one too. There will always be another maybe, there will always be a voice saying wait until you're certain before you make a choice. But my life is made of moments, not guarantees in ink. So I'll listen to the quiet part of me beneath the think. Trust the next step, let it be small. Trust that if it isn't right, you can change it after all. You don't need the full map, you just need enough of you. Trust the next step, and then trust the next one too. One foot, then the other, that's enough. I noticed something today. It wasn't silent, just quieter. The voice that used to wake me at 3 a.m. with proof that everything was falling didn't sound as much like truth. I heard it in the background, but I kept making my tea. And somewhere in the ordinary, it stopped controlling me. I didn't have a breakthrough, no dramatic closing scene. I just noticed I had space now between the thought and me. Maybe healing sounds like volume turning down. The noise gets smaller when I stop feeding every fear. The noise gets smaller when I let the moment stay right here. I can hear the doubt without becoming what it says. The noise gets smaller and I hear myself instead. I still have days I spiral, still have choices that feel big, still catch myself rehearsing every possible regret. But now I know the pattern, I know how the story starts, and I don't have to follow every sentence to the dark. I can change the conversation, I can go outside instead. I can put some music on and let the thought leave my head. The noise gets smaller when I stop feeding every fear. The noise gets smaller when I let the moment stay right here. I can hear the doubt without becoming what it says. The noise gets smaller and I hear myself instead. Not gone, not cured, not suddenly fearless. Just more room, more choice, more kindness in the process. Maybe that's what getting better actually looks like for me. Not a life without the worry, just a life where I can breathe. Next, the noise gets smaller, and I hear myself instead. Still a little noise, a lot more me. Morning through the curtains, nothing magic. Still, something feels different. I used to think believing had to feel like certainty, like waking up completely changed and finally liking me. But maybe faith is quieter, maybe hope is not a shout. Maybe it's the little voice that says, let's see what happens now. I've walked through tired seasons, I've questioned every plan. I've learned I can be unsure and still become who I am. I don't need to feel fearless, I just need a little yes. I can believe again, a little at a time. I can leave the door unlocked and let some hope back in my life. I don't need a perfect ending, I don't need to know when. I can trust myself enough to believe again. I know there will be Mondays when the old doubts show their face. I know I won't feel grateful for every single day, but I've stopped calling hard things proof that nothing will work out. I've learned feelings change like weather, I've learned I can wait them out. And when I lose my footing, I know how to begin. Not from zero, not from nothing, from everything I've learned within. I can believe again, a little at a time. I can leave the door unlocked and let some hope back in my life. I don't need a perfect ending, I don't need to know when. I can trust myself enough to believe again. Believe that rest can help me, believe that I can choose, believe that one wrong answer doesn't mean that I will lose, believe that I can change course, believe that I can grow, believe that I can meet myself wherever I may go. Through every heavy year, I don't need a perfect ending, I just need to let hope in. I can trust myself enough to believe again. I becoming and believing again. Morning through the curtains, one breath, one choice, begin.